I don't think free speech is a right among other rights. I don't think there's any difference between free speech and thought. And it has to be free, because if it's not free, it's not thought. So imagine mostly you have to think.
Oh my God. Hold on. Did y'all hear what he just now said? Oh, I got to rewind that, man. Oh my gracious, man. That is so true. I don't think there's a difference between free speech and thought. Free speech is just a thought, and you're just free to speak it. It's just your thought. Wow, bruh. Okay, all right. We're not ending the video right there, but that was definitely a mic drop. He probably get about 50 mic drops after that one.
And it has to be free, because if it's not free, it's not thought. So imagine mostly you have to think about hard things, because why think? Otherwise, if everything's going all right, you don't have a problem. When you have a problem, you have to think. And if you have a problem, the thinking is going to be troublesome, because you're going to think things that upset yourself and upset other people. It's part of the necessity. It's part of what will necessarily happen if you're thinking.
I just want to repeat.
Yeah.
You said something that just stopped me. Sorry, because
Yeah,
actually stopped me so completely cold
Yeah.
that I missed a little bit of what followed. I just want to repeat it. There is no difference between speech and thought. If you're going to have free thought, you must have free speech.
Well,
that's the argument?
Yeah, okay. Well,
Okay,
I'll unpack
right?
that first and then return to the other one.
Please.
Well,
Right.
there's a bunch of reasons.
This brother is a sharp dresser too. Let me show you something. See this get up that he had right there, man? That is so slick. That is so slick, man. That says wisdom. You know what I mean? Man, y'all gonna pull up on this channel one day and I'm gonna be in the full out suit. Don't play with me, man. Because it's when I see these type of conversations, there's something that people don't really get. I'm not only trying to understand how Jordan Peterson thinks. I'm not only trying to receive the wisdom that he has and all that. I mean, I get that when I read his books and whatnot too. And thank you everyone for sending me the books that y'all have been sending me, man. Thank you so much. I apologize I didn't do unboxing and shout out everyone, but I would love if you sent me a book, please join me in my Discord so I can just have a conversation with you, because I just want to say thank you. But anyway, this guy, he's on point. He's really on point. That's something that I really, this guy's on point. Okay, I'm not gonna stop it that much more. Okay.
Since for that, I mean, first of all, mostly you think in words. Now, people also think in images, but I'm not going to go into that. We'll just leave that aside. But mostly we think in words. And so we use a mechanism that's sociologically constructed, the world of speech, to organize our own psyches. And we do that with speech. And basically, when you think, there's two components to it that are internal in a sense. When you think you have a problem, so you ask yourself a question, and then answers appear in the theater of your imagination, generally verbally. So that'd be like the revelatory element of thought. And that's very much prayer-like in some fundamental sense, because it's very mysterious, you know, the fact that you can pose yourself a question and then you can generate answers. It's like, well, why did you have the question if you can generate the answers? If the answers are just there. And where do the answers come from? Well, you can give a materialist account to some extraordinarily limited degree, but phenomenologically it's still the case that you pose a question to yourself in speech and you receive an answer in speech. Now, it can also be an image, but forget about that. Well, then
you propose a question to yourself in thought. You received an answer in speech. Why propose a question if you already have the answer? Wow. Wow. Okay. All right.
You receive an answer in speech. Now, it can also be an image, but forget about that. Well, then the next question is, well, what do you do once you receive the answer? And the answer is, well, if you can think, then you use internal speech to dissect the answer, which is what you do, for example, you encourage your students to do if they're writing an essay. You know, they lay out a proposition, and then you hope they can take the proposition apart. And essentially, if they are, what they're doing is they're transforming themselves into avatars, speaking avatars of two different viewpoints. So you have the speaker for the proposition, and then you have the critic, and maybe you lay out the dialogue between them, and that constitutes the body of the essay. And you have to be bloody sophisticated to manage that, because it means that you have to divide yourself in some sense into two avatars that are oppositional, and then you have to allow yourself to be the battle space between them. And people have to be trained to do that. That's what universities are supposed to do. It's really hard. What people generally do instead of that is talk to other people. And that's how they organize themselves, by talking to other people. And then the reason you have the right to free speech isn't so that you can just say whatever you want to gain a hedonistic advantage, which is one way of thinking about it. You have a right to say whatever you want, like you have a right to do what you want, you know, subject to certain limitations. So it's like, it's a hedonic freedom. It's like, no, that's not why you have a right to free speech. You have a right to free speech because the entirety of society depends for its ability to adapt to the changing horizon of the future on the free thought of the individuals who compose it. It's like a free market. In some sense, it's a free market argument in relationship to thought. We have to compute this transforming horizon. Well, how do we do that? Well, by consciously engaging with possibility. Well, how do we do that? Well, it's mediated through speech. So societies that are going to function over any reasonable amount of time have to leave their citizens alone to grapple stupidly with complexity, so that out of that stupid grappling, fraught grappling that's offensive and difficult and upsetting, we can grope towards the truth collectively before taking the steps to implement those truths before they've been tested.
That's the importance of debate. I'm thinking us grappling, us having our arguments, us, as long as we keep it civil, a lot of good can come from our grappling. Wow. But a few people will be canceled along the way. I mean, if you think about it, you're always going to have some leaders. You're going to have a bunch of people who feel the opposite or feel the same, but they're supporters, or they're just they're people who are just going against you based off of other information that they already had. And some are going to be more passionate than the others. Some might know. Well, most cases, supporters know more than the leader. They do, because you guys just don't have the platform to be able to put your information out there. Even with Jordan Peterson, we see Jordan Peterson, and he represents very well, and probably is one of a kind. Well, he is one of a kind. I'm going to say that he's one of a kind. But his following is so huge, and we attract people who are like us, like-minded people. That's who we attract. Could you imagine how many people who are following Jordan Peterson who are equally as intelligent or even more? There might be another anomaly, you know what I mean? Somebody else who stands out, who follows him. And they just feel great being in his company, because they're like, you're a phenomenal mouthpiece for everything that we believe and have found out over the years of debates and research and other things, just experience and whatnot. This is excellent right here. Okay, more on free speech. Let's go.
Before taking the steps to implement those truths before they've been tested. And so then you might, that's the free speech argument. The divinity argument is, well, you are that locus of consciousness. That's what you are, most fundamentally. And the reason that's associated with divinity, that's a very, very complicated question. But part of the reason, I outlined this in my series on the biblical series on Genesis, is at the beginning of Genesis, for example. So imagine this divinity of the individual is rooted in the narrative conception that's part and parcel of the Judeo-Christian tradition. You have God at the beginning of time, in whose image man and woman are made, acting as the agent that transforms the chaos of potential into the habitable reality that is good. And he uses the word, the divine word, logos, to do that. And what that implies is that the word that's truthful, there's more to it than that, but the word that is truthful is the word that extracts habitable order out of chaos. And that's what characterizes human beings, that capability. And I think, yeah, that's right. And then you might ask, do you believe that? I would say, well, that's what your culture is based on. So you might say, I don't believe that. It's like, fair enough, say what you want, but try basing your personal relationships on any other conception than that and see what happens. You know, people are so desperate to be treated in that manner that it's their primary motivation. You want other people to treat you as if you have something to say, that you're worth attending to, you know, that you have the opportunity to express yourself no matter how badly you do it. And if they're willing to grant you their attention and time to help you straighten that out, there isn't anything you want more than that.
And the fact that I know this to be true, whenever I see some people, whenever I make eye contact with someone, say at the gym, grocery store, or we're in a position, we're somewhere where we can actually talk, have a brief conversation, and then be on our way. I know that people are interesting. They also want other people to know that they're interesting. So something I like to do is ask questions and just let people talk if they want to talk. And I find that that's a great way to start a relationship or build a relationship, or just to get people going and see what we can make of this situation, this moment that we have. How can we make this moment better? Like this moment right now that we have. This is good, man. This is good. This Jordan Peterson is a beast, bro. Jordan, I can see why people keep on posting all over the internet. We must protect him at all costs. I can see why.
To grant you their attention and time
Definitely
to help you straighten that out, there isn't anything you want more than that. And if you try to structure your social relationships on any other basis than that intrinsic respect for their intrinsic value, it's going to fail.
Yep, he's a beast, man. I like him. I think I've said a little too much, and I probably even interrupted him a couple of times when he was on a roll, because it looked like he was in his bag and he was in his zone a couple of times, and I hit that space bar so that I can run my dag on my and I apologize if that got to you, but if it didn't, you know what I mean, well, check this out. I enjoyed it. Hopefully you did too. Please let me know what you thought about it in the comments below. Don't hold back. And if you have yet to hit that subscribe button or the super thanks button, and thank you to everyone who has been hitting that button, I really appreciate it. Please make sure you do so on your way out the door. Once again, guys, I'm Van, and now we are all the LFR family, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video. Hopefully inside the Patreon as well, we have a playlist that you can also check out. All right, see y'all next time, man. Love y'all. Bye.